Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Go.podcast. You have myself, Tim Fisher.
Jordan Jamiola.
Sam Komalafi.
Guys, welcome back. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do another a topical podcast, which we've done a few times. So it's almost like a monthly review. We're not going to say that. But there are some big things that I think we need to hit on and talk about that are pretty interesting, including... Well, I'm not going to say that. We'll start with, what's it called? Oh, Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah.
The Silicon Valley Bank, what doesn't know, pretty much collapsed this week, right?
It did.
Yeah, so that which is really bad. There are people with millions of dollars that cannot pull their money out.
Oh, yeah. It's
lots of people. Anyone with a bank account there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a huge deal. It's not just because Silicon Valley Bank, like unless you're probably from the Silicon Valley, which typically it sounds like most of their like holding or actual places you can go.
Tech guys, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm blanking on the like what is that called when it's the actual building you can go to? There's a specific word.
Brick and mortar.
I was gonna say brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Sorry.
Brick and Morty. Brick and mortar.
You know what's funny is I almost said Rick and Morty.
Right.
And then I'm like, I know you're wearing the glass. I'm wearing the glasses. I'm trying to be
You
smart.
look good.
But
You look really
well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Those prescription glasses. There.
Yeah, I was like,
It's real style, baby.
yeah, super. No, so this place, right? I mean, it's a legit bank. Like as far as the numbers for the bank, they're like 16th largest in the United States, right? So it's a legitimate firm, if you will. Impacting wise, yeah, they're dissolving, and so what does that do? It creates chaos amongst the banker or the people who have their money there. And I'll throw out a couple numbers here in a minute, but basically causing havoc and widespread pandemonium for people in the bank. And the system or our government's worried that by this happening, is that going to make other people worried about having their money in banks in general? Right.
Well,
so not just them, like a bigger,
right.
bank like JP Morgan or something like that.
So we can clarify so people know. There are still people who don't understand, that this has happened. And why we're talking about it is because it is a big deal. This is pretty much like you going to whatever bank you use and then them saying, hey, all the money you have in here, your savings account, whatever you're checking, you can't pull it out. There's nothing. It's gone.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard, I meant to tell you guys this earlier. I was talking to a few guys down at the beach today surfing, and they were saying two of the dudes that were out there with us today were visibly upset. And it was because they went to B of A, Bank of America, and they couldn't pull their money out.
What?
Multiple people could not get money out of Bank of America.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. So that's going to be...
So
I don't know what's going on with that.
So I bet you they probably tried to pull out a large amount. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to take like not taking out like $5,000, I'm talking, 100.
So it's like what you said. People are getting scared, right?
Yeah. So, and that's what I shouldn't say that's what. So like when I'm speaking about this, I'm not a legal analyst. I'm just...
This is all
I'm an
research.
Enthusiast that I read a lot. I try to read a lot about it, and like especially stuff with banking and finances. I find it interesting. So there's where I'm coming from, and just my opinion on some stuff. So I don't want to mislead anybody saying that what I'm saying is concrete fact. There's my disclaimer. But yeah, so but the banks are worried that it's going to cause other people to do that, right? And if you have a little backstory on just how banking works, right? You take your money, you put it in the bank. They now have the ability to levy your money to put into other
assets or investments, right?
Other investments, yeah. So, it's like when you have the old school days of being like, I'm taking my $100 bill and they're going to go put it in a box with your name on it in the back and they're holding it. That's not how this works, right? And I'm sure a lot of people understand that. But, so while they're trying to constantly make money on your money being in the bank, they are also at risk of taking a massive loss. Now, that doesn't happen with the big banks typically. You'll use it. They're obviously very smart about it, and they use different things or bonds or other investment stuff like more not aggressive, but safe. So maybe not as high as a return, but when you're talking about, $500 billion at a 1% return rate, you're crushing it, right? So all that being said, the system's worried. I mean, look, the president made a speech today talking about how for the average consumer or how the person that has money in the bank, they're like, hey, don't worry, everyone's safe. It's okay to use banks, no big deal. And then they promised that they weren't going to use taxpayer money to bail out this bank. because now we're going back into 2008 when you had like J.P. Morgan, Freddie Mac and is it Fannie Mae?
Yeah,
I think it's
Fannie Mae.
Freddie Mac. Well, there was a couple of them, right? Well, that was the time where it was like you can make $15 an hour flipping burgers and you can get $1 million loan. Right. And when all of them defaulted and then all of a sudden there's this massive deficit and they can't pay for those losses and the government actually bailed them out, i.e. the people of the United States bailed them out because just in case anyone forgets, that's where this money comes from, right? So your taxpayer money goes to bail out these large firms. Now you can get into the theological stuff of accountability and was it fair and is it not? It doesn't matter what you feel. That's just how it happens, right? So the president, I'm sure, amongst other things at the mind is trying to come out and be like, yo, guys, chill. It's like, we have COVID, we have inflation, we have economic issues, whatnot, other things going. This is just one more thing to the list. Hey, either way, I would absolutely hate being the president of the United States. Sounds like the worst job in the world.
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, but hey, we need someone to step up. So
Some old white man's got to do it.
Yep.
Just anyone that like seems all right, I think, at this point. Anyway, so going back to the impact of
Yes.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes.
Right. So a little bit of backstory about Silicon Valley Bank is Silicon Valley Bank around 2019, right before the COVID pandemic, they were like a smaller bank. I think like their estimated total of like money that they've taken in was about $50 billion, which is a lot of fucking
That's crazy. So that's small.
Well, but
so
I mean, like if at the peak, if they were at number 16, and I'll say the next number because over the next 2.5 years, they went from 50 billion to 250 billion.
Oh
that's
my
billion
God.
with a B. In
Wow.
a 2-year stint, that's a massive, massive growth, right? So, and that
We got all those tech guys in Silicon Valley. Big money.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? Is that now, they're like a heavy hitter in the game. And a little bit of the backstory on that is that like before COVID, what made them like an appealing bank company, or at least to what I have read, is that they weren't as restrictive on loans. So like if they had people coming in and you're like, hey, I need money for a donut shop and I need like $5 million to do that, right? And you're like, okay, well, what do you do for like how much money do you have? You're like, I got about $15. So like they're not going to do that, right? And traditionally that's how banks work, right? I mean, if you're going in for a bank loan, you got to be able to show that you have money, assets, things that they can leverage. If your business fails, they'll take all your shit, right? So in this case, what set them aside from some of the larger banks is that they were a little bit more friendly or more like to riskier options. Now, the majority of the loans that they were giving out as business loans were for a lot of tech companies. In the last 10 years, tech's obviously quadrupled over the time. They probably were willing to risk it for the biscuit. Hey. But yeah, ring it. That was so dumb. Sorry.
The biscuit.
No, the biscuit for the biscuit.
That's gonna be our new shirt to sell online, dude. George's face on it.
Yeah, no. So anyways, that's how they gained popularity, right? Then over the time period of COVID, when you had a massive, massive influx of tech booming, right? I mean, we remember looking at the market, it was like COVID hit and it was like the market crashed and it was down very low. If you don't want to call it a crash, it was fucking, things were cheap to buy, well, in the process of that, I mean, look at cryptocurrency, look at all these tech companies coming up with these different, like lithium batteries, EFTs, NFTs, or not EFTs, but NFTs. And, so this company was all over it. You know what I mean? And that catapulted them in a 2-year span to gain $150 billion, which is not typical for the size and the amount of people investing, right? Or how long they've been around type situation. So anyways, that's kind of how they got popular and big. What they did is that they ended up taking that money and instead of like kind of diversifying into a lot of different things, because that's what banks do, like we were saying earlier, that they take your money, they reinvest it so they can make money, and then they give you like a fucking fraction of a percentage, but it's something to keep your money there, right? So they did something that a lot of banks do, but they just did it in a larger fashion. They ended up investing more so into bonds. Right. And at the time, look, again,
That's federal, so people know.
Correct.
Bonds are federal.
Like, remember when your grandparents gave you, or if your grandparents gave you a $5 bond, they're like, in 50 years, it'll be worth like $50. That's crazy return. It didn't happen at that time. So it seemed probably pretty good, right?
Right.
But anyway, so it's like that, but on a very large scale. So instead of it being $5, it's $5 billion. You know what I mean? And it's typically a safe, slow return. What they did not account for was the federal interest rate at the time, or from the National Reserve Bank. We were at zero. That's when everyone was refinancing their house. There was a lot of things going on, but still at the time, the interest rate stayed at zero. It
was low.
Their interest rate was at zero. Our interest rates was like 3 or 4%. Like if you're going to try to buy a house at the time. So what they didn't account for was that the Federal Bank Reserve. God dang it, I'm messing this up. But anyways, they started raising the rates. So now going from zero to this amount, which they did not account for. So then they were probably like, oh shit, all this money that we have in there, like we're starting to lose, and now it's not looking good in the short term to keep that money in there. So what did they do? They tried to sell.
Actually, real quick, hold that thought. Okay, so the Fed's knowing that people are getting bonds, and they have to have records knowing that Silicon Valley Bank has so many of theirs at such a high cost. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you think they would know, hey, this might fold this bank, which is a bad thing, very bad thing for our citizens. So we have to be careful about raising interest rates.
Yes.
So it's like they knew, but still did it.
They had to have known.
Right?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wait a minute, dude.
For every one of these moves, dude, there's a group of people that are talking about this shit before it happens. Whether you're either the Federal Reserve, or you're the one issuing the bonds, or you're the people for Silicon Valley Bank and you're trying to purchase the bond. Dude, it's a lot of communication.
Analysis.
It's not like you and me just sitting here and you're like, look, dude,
right, what do you
I'm going to throw you $5 billion. You good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, solid investment. It's good. Let's do it. And then we just, high five and we're good. I mean, there's a lot of like legal processing and analytics that go into all this stuff, which even then, I'm not saying that was incorrect at the time, because if you're like, hey, we're going to smart money, right? You know what? Hey, we're not going to get as much, but you know what? We have so much now that even having a very slight, a slight return is going to be more than enough to be able to cover everyone, just in case people start branching off and they have to make payouts and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So when this happened, it made everyone panic. And when they tried selling the bonds, they got deep. They got screwed, right? So now they lost a bunch. And then everything else started to crumble. So when they had the big loss, then all of a sudden you start getting chatter from the internals. Some people posted some things online that made it sound like they were going to start crumbling. And what does that do? That makes someone who has your money in the bank would be like, holy shit, dude, my life savings in this bank. I'm going to get it out, right? So now I'm gonna say this was a quote. So if I'm wrong with the numbers, send us a DM and tell me I'm an idiot, and I'll apologize for it. But it was in a 48-hour period that they said they had $46 billion of withdrawals.
Oh my
right?
God.
So if you look at
$46 billion.
$46 billion is what the thing I read said.
In 2 days.
Right. So again, it almost, dude, that almost doesn't feel like it's even possible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, doesn't sound real.
There's not 46 billion people, or let's say it's half, or there's not 4 billion people that showed up going, I need my, $4,000 out, and it's just boom, transaction after transaction. But I'm sure it was like hedge funds, and it was other groups in there going like, hey, this is a bad investment. We want our, we want our 500 million.
Dude, can you
that we have in here?
Can you imagine knowing all this is happening and then going to the bank? Like, oh my God, let's be real. So a lot of people savings, if you read some of these like studies, it's like $5,000-$10,000 for a lot of Americans. And that's from working hard.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot and they're saving super hard. So you got hardworking people, the fabric of America. You go to the bank and you've been saving for years, 10 plus years or 5+ years, thinking you're going to make a future for your family, for yourself. And now your money's gone. You can't pull it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Mm-ve It's terrifying.
I would feel sick to my stomach.
Right.
I would like, how am I going to pay? Like, I have nothing. How am I going to put food on the table? I can't pull money out for groceries or to go eat or something.
Yeah, and again, that's not an abnormal thought process.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you say and I would say that I've been very fortunate, and like if because honestly, you're probably right, dude. The average person in the United States
very low.
Maybe has $10,000 in their bank account, and I have a little more than that in there. And if this happened to the bank that I was banking with, I'd be freaking out, and I'd be like, I want it all out. Oh, we can't do that, sir. I'd be like, what do you? No. You don't understand. I want my money out.
Can you imagine what that does to somebody's mental status?
Yep.
Thinking about all the hard work and the sacrifice in your life and years that you put in to try and do well for your future.
Yep.
And then the freaking bank and the feds fuck it up.
Yep.
And it's like, oh well, sorry, it's closed. We have no money left. It's gone.
I saw something today on CNBC.
I'd lose my dude. So it's surprising that somebody didn't lose it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw something today, and it was just talking about. They were talking about how on your cell phone you can take out all your money, just gone.
Yeah.
And how everybody was doing that.
Yeah, well, right.
And it's impossible for everyone too. But everyone was just trying. I need to get this out now, today, and they were just like, oh my god. It was an overload.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Oh, dude, and that is a perfect example, because like I was trying to make the brick and mortar thing be like the reality of everyone going in, but the reality of the scenario is that most of us do it right here, and I don't need to go in. But if I'm sitting there taking a dump, going, you know what, I'm getting it all out, and you hit it, and it's just like it's all access denied or whatever pops up. It's all still loading, and it doesn't process, and you'd be like, what's happening? You might, it can cause some serious panic.
Psychological issues. Oh, my God, straight panic and horror.
But dude, and so again, right, going with what it's saying is that it's like, dude, okay, so you basically had a group that was extraordinarily successful, right? They attracted in, they were doing great. And then all of a sudden, in a month span, and the reason why I used a month is, I'll be specific here in a second, is that now you have a large majority of holders are trying to get out after they already took a fat deficit and they're trying to sell. So now they're underneath. They can't pay everyone out. They don't have enough money to give everyone the money. So it's like, well, who does that go to? Does it go to the $1 billion hedge firm, or does it go to fucking Bob over here that has 50 grand in the bank and that's his life savings, like we were just talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And so now we get into this, it's like ethical dilemma. You know what I mean? Let's be real, dude. The hedge funds are going to get paid. That's just how it works.
Always, exactly.
But I don't agree with that. It's terrible, but it's the truth. And so, okay, so that stems today. Today, Biden comes out and says what I said earlier. It was basically like, hey, just want to let you know that banking in the United States is safe, bless you. And that no one should be afraid, and that this is not going to come out of taxpayers' money. They're basically saying that the quarterly taxes that are going to be made on the other companies.
Keep going, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically the money, like the taxes that these big firms, like the heavy hitters, their contributions for the taxes will go into bailing out this company. Right now, again, I don't know enough. I'm not like a real economist or like know how to really dissect into too much of the data points, but it's like, okay, so now we basically as a society give it up to the gray world. That figment where all the things happen when someone says, don't worry, we're going to use these other companies to pay for it. Yeah, it's like, dude, the number one thing is that, dude, everyone's fucked on taxes. Whether it's the rich people fucking scheming the system to make more, you're telling me that their contributions are going to be big enough to be able to take a, let's say a $200 billion deficit. They probably are, but are they going to do that? I would highly doubt it. Right. So at some point, I'm assuming that there will be, this is my assumption, is that they're going to have some kind of bailout process. Shit, dude, we gave $100 billion to Ukraine. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised.
Incredible.
Well, right, you know what I mean?
Incredible.
So that's why I don't think it's...
And then, the bank collapses. Well, it's a slap in the face to Americans. What's even I think is even more comical?
Yeah.
Is now they're going to bail this bank out, send millions to Ukraine, and they're still denying federal help to the Palestine people in Ohio from the chemical spill. They're still saying
laughing
no.
at it. It's
it's
comical because
it's crazy.
It's terrible.
Yes, it's terrible leadership. Terrible leadership,
dude. And sorry, there's so many pieces of this, and I wanted to try to paint it as best I could. Did this? So when I said like a month, it was in a month window of them, basically selling out and whatnot. The reason why this is interesting, not selling out, but dissolving. The reason why this is interesting is 1 month before that bank had an audit. And the people that did the audit on that company are like the same people that audit the heavy hitters, dude. I keep saying JP Morgan. It's like because I only know like 3 fucking names. Because I have no money, that's why. You know, and I'm not rich enough to be in that game. But anyway. But what was interesting is that they had the audit in it was in January. And at the end of January, their report came out that everything was good. Like they were not showing any kind of deficits. They weren't showing any kind of like rocky situation. They were actually being promoted as like, dude, this is like the future of how this is going to work.
Okay.
Right. So that's what's interesting. At the end of that time period, when after that report came out, there was about a month before whatever it was, like 2 days ago, right? Basically is the timeline.
Yeah.
So March 10th. What are we at? Yeah. March 12th or 13th or something?
2 or 3 days, rather.
Right. So this was March 10th is when this has occurred. So in between that time period, the CFO and the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank both offloaded their majority shareholdings of the company.
Oh my gosh.
So here's another side note, just to add on to that, because then someone's going to say, there's an article that, like a legal article or a statute maybe is the better term for it, that you can't just do that like the night before. You have to apply for this, and it has to be filed, it has to be approved, and everything. That file and approval was all done in the beginning of January. So everything was submitted for that time period to cash out.
They've known for a minute, dude.
Right.
Yep.
So again, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but good God, man, really? Like then now we're just talking about following the money. That's all this is.
Okay, how about, dude, why is it that blatant corruption right in your face nowadays is considered conspiracy?
Because it's easy to just offload.
Because what you
nonsense.
don't want to believe that people are actually that way.
Yeah.
You know, so they just throw it off as, oh, well, you guys are just conspiracy theorists. No one can really do that. People can be evil.
Yeah.
Absolutely evil. Power changes people. Money changes people. You're talking about big players in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're making billions.
Right.
You don't think they're going to do what they have to do?
Yes.
That's what I want to tell, but people live in this false...
time again.
Yeah, people live in this false sense of reality, like, trust your government. They're going to take care of us. They would never do that to us. Get the fuck out of here. Like, they will. They don't give a shit about you.
But Tim, what you just said is the sell. That's what because
people live in comfort. Yeah.
Because people live in comfort.
Yep.
And it's like, look, and again, like I want to trust that, or like, I mean, obviously I have the belief like fundamentally of what this country should stand for, or in my opinion should stand for, or what it does, depending on who you ask. I think that like we as a society just blatantly dismiss stuff, and we don't do our own accountability holding.
Even when it comes to your money, though.
Well, piss people off faster when it comes to money. This isn't a feeling thing. This is a fucking you got it and we took it.
Yeah,
thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oof. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that was kind of like that was a little bit of the conspiratorial stuff, and then I heard one other thing about it, or I like read a little bit about it, and I wanted to like kind of check myself to get multiple sources of the same information before I start spitting it out, but it'll make the story sound cooler. Supposedly the Pelosi's also have basically like matched these buying and selling. Like they've made a fuck ton of money off this company.
Pelosi's have the best stock picks in history.
They optioned out of this before. So it's like you're buying a loss before it's a fucking loss.
Right.
And you're telling me a company that's got grown $250 billion in 2 years, probably the best outpaced bank that's come around for fucking years. And you're like, I bet you they go down next month. I bet you.
Exactly.
I mean, no one told me that. But hey, honey, I'm going to take like $10 million and we're going short.
But
baby.
wait, Jordan, the Pelosi's, they're a part of our government. They would never lie, cheat, or steal.
That's right.
That's not American.
You know what? I just want to formally apologize for insinuating that any strong political tie family have messed up finances and you're terrible people.
Our politicians would never rob the system or cheat the system to make millions of dollars. Because who goes into Congress or some big part of government making $120,000 a year and comes out a multi-millionaire, sometimes 100 times over?
Smart investing, Tim.
Oh, man.
When you know the numbers, it's easy. I mean, that's just it, dude. I mean, that's what it boils down to. And it sucks because, again, that's kind of part of this, like, we allow it as a society. We're comfortable with it. We have an expectation that out of all the things that we hold people accountable for, like how they make their money is one of those things we kind of like. It's a very gray area.
You know, I think I know why. So in society, you know, we build these structures, right? And then we have people that are over that structure, and that structure is supposed to be manned by that person. You know, I don't have enough brain to be able to, you know, understand everything. So this person is dealing with that structure, and then when that person fucks up, then it's, you know, it's I don't think we're ready for that.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
true.
they're designed to fix that, so we kind of just give it to them. You know, and I think that happens everywhere. But we apply the conspiracy when it's like, well, how do we explain this at this point?
If it doesn't make sense,
Right.
it's a conspiracy theory.
No.
If you can't, like, if someone can't compute,
Right.
and you don't understand that you're dealing with humans,
Yes.
who are imperfect,
Yes.
and
Literally.
when you put power and money in front of many people, not all, it will change you.
Yep.
If you are not grounded enough to be able to handle that, it will change anybody. And I can see why, because sometimes I'll be presented with opportunities and you're kind of like, fuck, you know, but they're like, you know what? It's not worth losing
Right.
my career
Right,
over
right.
or
Yes.
family and friends, you know?
But then you, even if like, you know, you wanted to do it, you still need to be checked. You know?
Yes, you
And
have
in
to check yourself.
Right. But in the government, like, it's crazy because there's checks and balances everywhere, but those checks and balances still fail. Right. So
It's like all the
you know
checks
why?
work with the balances.
Yeah.
Right?
exactly.
If they're all together, it's
Literally,
not check
bro.
and balance, dude.
I was going to say, it's because the government owns those checks and balances, dude.
Right. Right.
I mean, but I'll tell you what, you don't pay your taxes for 5 to 10 years, they'll put you away for 20.
Screw.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
throw away the key. You won't even be paroled, dude.
Dude, it's as simple as trying to like convince somebody that like you're your own fact checker and it's okay. You can believe every word that comes out of it.
It's fine,
It's the
yeah.
same shit. It's like you pull out any subjectivity. We use the term checks and balances with the hope that our system's built strong enough to be able to actually do that. I just think like, dude, like, and this is everybody, in my opinion. I mean, like, I'm sure there are examples of terrible ones, and we always highlight the terrible ones, just like there's examples of ones who maybe do it a little bit, but not enough to get caught. And then there's ones that probably don't, because they either came from a lot of money or they're like the 1% of political people who truly just do it for the love.
But is that possible though? Like,
I don't think
the
so.
answer's
No,
no.
I don't think so.
It
I was just
isn't.
giving them an area to be in. I was like,
Right.
it might be you. I don't know who you are.
You can fit in that category, but it's literally because we're human, man.
That's
You
it.
know, exactly.
Yes,
It's
totally.
a human condition. We know how we fuck ourselves, so then we do it.
Yeah.
And then the people that get fucked are like, "Oh, what? You know what? You did that to me?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, because I can.
Yeah.
You know, I have control over it."
Totally.
You know what's interesting
Hey, my
is
bad.
there's so many. I know. Hey
I
guys,
mean,
no worries,
that's not-
government. You can't put me in jail anyways, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I own you.
yeah, who's gonna be like who holds the top accountable? You know what I mean?
Dude,
like, this is
that's-
where we need like I don't know some superhero to come in and be like, these guys have been fucking you for years,
Yeah.
and here's all of them, you know, and you'd be like, okay, you guys are all out,
Yeah.
you know, go to jail or whatever you think is necessary, but you're done, you know, and then let's get a new wave of people in there.
At that point, though, someone would pay off that super person. You know, they'd be like, "Super person, like I got you."
It's,
you know?
it's Superman, dude. He flies
Right.
down. He's with Aquaman. He's like, bro, we're good forever.
Dude, you know what? Through all this, that
I not only gotta destroy the world, but I have more money than everyone in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
what I'm seeing through all this though is why it's so dangerous to. I hate to not just be. It's not being a rule follower, but not being able to think for yourself.
Right.
You're seeing this in, I guess you say globally, but we're Americans, so we get American news, so we see it a lot in our country.
Right.
And let's be real, our country is powerful and usually sets the standards for many things. But to me, I look sometimes in awe and think, how could some people just not think for themselves? How hard is it for you to look at evidence and realize certain things that maybe some things are true, maybe some things are untrue? And what you're seeing is a lack of people who are seeing their self-worth. Meaning like you are actually on your own a very powerful person, powerful thinker.
Yeah.
If you have confidence, stand on your feet, have discipline, work hard. You'd be surprised how far you can get in life and how much knowledge you can attain and realize you can really think for yourself and do well for yourself without the government or anyone telling you what to do.
Dude, and you know what's interesting? Everything that you just said right there, and you know what? All those things, when that accumulates, you know what? One trait those type of people have.
What's that?
They hold people accountable,
Very true.
right?
Ooh,
because
baby.
because every trait that you just listed is yes, and I completely agree, right? Because that gives you not just the ability, but the confidence to look at things with a bigger picture, right?
Yes,
Because of your efforts, your struggles, your success, your failures, but then creates you as a person. And then now it's like, I think that one of those traits that a person like that definitely has is the people around them. There's accountability to that, So now it's like, if everyone felt that way, I mean, not that this wouldn't happen, but I guarantee you it wouldn't happen as often.
I was gonna say it get caught quicker.
Yeah, right. I mean, it wouldn't go on as long. Maybe the success stories of these people that can fucking bend money and make it go either way, and they always escape the fail, and they rely on the investors basically. And like for this case, hopefully the people that have their money in there that aren't like the billion-dollar hedge funds, like the average people that have just their life savings into something like this, hopefully they can get reimbursed and they can get out into something else. Or what'll end up happening is the company will get bailed out, and then you'll just continue either banking with them or be able to do it. Yeah. But again, right, that goes down to how's that bailout going to work? How much money are we willing to do that? And I mean, I think it's kind of another ethical dilemma of like, you have the president coming out saying, hey, it's not going to come out of taxpayers' money. But then you're like, okay, well, I'm not. And again, I don't know. So maybe it does. Maybe the earnings on these other companies that they can share them enough to pay them off. But at the end of the day, where does that money come from? The other earnings of these other companies. Yeah, it's people's money that they're leveraging into these companies. So, and it's like, okay, and how many groups are going to get brought together to come forward, and the think tanks and the money that's going to get generated to try to fix this problem? This is all taxpayer money, dude. So you can't just walk out there and be like, there isn't a dime coming out of the taxpayers when it's all fucking funded by the taxpayers. So, and then, like, again, right, just sidestep that statement and you have a decent statement. Hey, banks are actually safe. We're going to do everything we can to fix it. If you have money in there, you're going to get it back. End of day. Right? You could have been on and off that stage in fucking 15 seconds. He never answers questions anyway, so what would it matter? Do you know what I mean? At least he could have had a coherent sentence.
That's because he's on fucking planet Xenu half the time, dude.
Xenu.
He's just not there.
Yeah.
Dude, you explained it very, very well. And I really believe people listening to this podcast will understand. But I think people need to also prep themselves.
Yep.
If that big of a bank, ranks 16th in the world?
I think,
or not world, in the U.S.
Sorry. It might be in the U.S., but a heavy hitter.
Yes, a heavy hitter in the system, 16th in the U.S., and they're saying we're not going to go into a recession, or we are in one. You need to prep yourself. I think we are in one. Personally, it's bad news to see a bank that big be able to fail. That's my thought. Like, that should be a huge warning to all of you. Something is not right. Something's wrong. Hard times will come.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that it's like, okay, because like if you're looking at, because the bank is a business, dude. It's at the end of the day, and it's we're a capitalist society. You can rise to the top and you can fail on your face.
Yeah,
and like at a certain extent, it is like, okay, is it the bank's fault for taking risks? Well, yeah, but it's also like part of the game, and but it really just focuses around the average consumer. Yeah. And the average consumer, that was an FDIC insured bank. So if you had under like $200,000, technically you should be able to sue to get your money back, or however that works, because
you got to spend money. You have to pay money to go to court with the government to get your money back. But dude, I'm just saying, does that sound hilarious?
But it's
crazy.
Even if you didn't have to pay for the lawsuit, let's say it's a class action suit, they're going to file it under this, and anyone who's got under $250,000, look, you're going to get your money back. But here's the problem. The problem is that shit's not tomorrow. The problem is that shit might not be next week, next month, next year.
Couple years.
You know what I mean? So if you're looking at let's say it's 3 years. Now I have no idea how long they really last, but even if it's fucking 3 months, dude, like people are fucking check to check. Yep. And all of a sudden, if you were one of those people who fucking direct deposit your bank, you might have zero cash on you. When that freezes, you have zero cash on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I got a family, I got kids. How the hell am I going to do this? So it's an eye opener, and I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but all I can say is that
be smart, man.
Be smart. Like don't do all of it in one thing. Diversify. And even if it means, have some cash at home, dude. Like stash a little bit at least. Yes.
I keep
right, but
keep a hefty amount so I can get the hell out of here.
Like, hey-o.
Yeah,
and a helicopter in the back, dude.
People can think I'm like a prepper or something. No, my dad has always taught me, always have a way out. of any situation. Be prepared. Don't be caught off guard. I'm not like oh my gosh, doomsday prepper. No, but I do have things set up around here, so I can grab and go. That's it. I'm out. Leave everything.
Do you have your house wired with a bomb? I'm just kidding. It's like Inspector Gadget. Do you remember Inspector Gadget? Where it was like you get the note and it's like we got to get out because it self-destructs.
Yeah. Some people call it like a bug out bag, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, no, I throw it in. I'm out of here, dude. That's it. Get the dogs. We're leaving.
Hey, you know what? And just in case,
we got to eat them because we have no food. No, I was kidding.
Like I haven't taken up hunting lately.
Not a lot of meat on Roxy, anyways. She's a thing.
She'll be your guide, your scout dog. Just use her for bait. Like, here it comes.
I love that little dog, dude. I love that little dog. But yeah, that closing of that bank, I really thought it was important to talk about. I just want to always reiterate, like, it's okay to question things. It's okay to do your own research and form your own beliefs. That is what's so powerful about America and this country. You have the right to form your own belief and the right to truth, to know what's happening in the government that you're paying into.
Yeah.
It's a government for the people and by the people. We have the power in numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's okay for you to be like, hey, what the F is this about? This is not right. Because your hard work is paying these taxes, that money that's going to the government to pay for these things.
Right.
So you have the right to know. Do your homework. But that's it. Again, it comes down again. Most people don't even like hard work. They don't want to take the extra time to figure it out and get informed information.
And the belief that the system will fix itself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Without again, the accountability piece that we're talking about, you know? And like, believe me, dude, like life's crazy. Like I'm not saying everyone needs to be fucking Dudley Do-Right and, you know, but if you could do the best you can, open mind and understand and, you know, don't take everything for face value, it'll put you in a better position in life. Just, you know, not just overall, but just knowledge base, understanding the way things work, and like take a second to read about stuff. You know, there's a lot of shit that just
don't read just the title. Don't just read the title,
and
please.
And read different things. Like look at the same. Like I love doing that. Like that's one of my favorite things. The first, I was like, I'll basically like start searching for things, and then you know, especially something like this, I'll read like the first 6 articles, and then I'll go to one where I was like, I know, like let's say whether it's a political side or something that will be on the complete opposite end, and then I'll read a couple articles that are written that way, and that's how I try to formulate my opinions on the subject matter. So it's like, but I think by doing that, does it take a little extra time? It's like, well, I could have been fucking playing some game on my phone or reading an article. I mean, either way, I'm probably looking at my phone, I guess. But.
Or you could have had a good morning. Like, oh, dude, I ran trail run 10 miles today and then went surfed.
Get it.
It was a great day, man.
Beast.
Awesome.
Great.
That's awesome. I'm so jealous.
Awesome.
I was like, that sounds pretty rad, dude.
It was rad. I took the RV, dude. I was just cruising.
At least I know somewhere out there, Tim's doing some 360 hair whips out of the water, just living his best life, dude.
Well, to be honest with you, I probably shouldn't have gone out in the water and surfed. It was like the day after a 2-day storm. And I could tell in the water. I was like, yeah,
it's like chocolate milk,
pretty
dude.
Nasty.
You're like, oh man, it's a little creamier looking than normal.
Paddled out. I was like, all right.
Yeah, like no one's out here.
Where is everybody? You look at the water like, oh, well, yeah, there's a diaper. You know, like,
dude, the gauge is that if you're looking down in the water and you can't see your foot, the water's pretty murky.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's after a storm, it's not good stuff in the water.
No, and we got a swell coming, but we also have 2 days of rain coming.
Yeah, it said like the peak of this one coming through is supposed to do a half to an inch an hour.
Yeah, and that's in Southern California.
Yeah,
so you know.
SoCal. Yeah. So get your sandbags.
I know, and we just had a time change, dude. It's crazy. It's still raining like
it's been a crazy week.
Absolutely. Dude. You know, it's one thing, too, this week. A video. So people are starting to send us a lot of videos of opinions. Some say conspiracy theories about different things in the government, about actors, who knows, about situations. Anyways, I watched
sending them.
Yeah, please. They're actually
Very
pretty great.
Yeah.
There's a few of you that I had to block. You're sending me some inappropriate things, so stop that. If I said that to your mom would be very disappointed in you, okay?
You know who you are.
Nothing's supposed to be going in your backside, okay? Like a light bulb, you weirdo. I'm not going to say anything, Matt. I'm not going to say your last name, Spencer. Don't ever do that again, you weirdo.
Oh, man.
I don't know who that guy was, dude.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I was like, I'm sorry, man. I don't know, dude.
No, I'd block that dude. But I was like, who are you, bro? Yeah. No, so I don't think a lot of people knew this. Maybe it is well-known information. But it's very well known that 3 days before Kobe Bryant, 3 days after Kobe Bryant died, he was supposed to go to court. He had a lawsuit filed against 3 major pharmaceutical companies, which is actually one company that owned all 3, right?
Acorn, right?
Yeah.
Acorn.
Because he found out that they had laced the energy pills they were selling with opioids. Now, that makes you think, okay? They have a lot to lose, okay? Pharmaceutical companies have some skeletons, okay? Skeletons, things that would probably put you in your grave if you even saw what they were doing. But they have to save their ass because that would end the company probably.
I mean,
He found that out. Yeah.
And it's Kobe.
And it's Kobe.
So he has power.
So people are going to, they automatically are going to at least consider him telling the truth.
Big time.
You know what I mean? What does he have to lose in that?
That'd be major news, right? Teenagers taking that you're giving people opiate. Someone would go to jail, maybe.
Well, so it was a product being sold as like a diet pill, essentially. But the diet pill, like you said, had lace or traces of opiates in it.
So rad.
So that's where the story goes. Like, is it unclear? Was that something that he was taking? Was it something that he was endorsing? Because that would probably be more of the like which way I would lean to piss him off enough to be like, I'm taking you guys to court. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, like it's Kobe, right? You know, everyone wants a piece of Kobe. Why wouldn't the pharmaceutical industry want a piece of Kobe? If you're doing some, fucking miracle pill that's going to make your life better in every way, shape, and form, in this way around maybe physique and fat loss, and then all of a sudden you're the face of that shit. Now I'm paraphrasing. I have no fucking clue if he was supposed to be the face, but I'm just saying it makes more sense that he would be that mad to go after them. So let's say if that was the case, then it makes total sense he's going to take these fuckers down, right? He's like, dude, because he's had enough controversy in his career, and to be able to go from getting shit on a bunch to being the top of the game to being a legacy character for all of us. You know what I mean? We're all, like you said, Sam. I mean, like, dude, you guys are gonna believe what he says, and if he's repping that side of it, it's like, well, one, everyone already thinks pharmaceutical companies probably have, like you said, a couple skeletons in the closet, and two, now you have a guy who, I would say overall would be regarded as what would he be lying about? This wouldn't be something typical to Kobe Bryant's character, right? So, like you said,
families look up to Kobe, right? It's like Michael Jordan. Like, here's someone who's successful who maybe didn't come from much. They had some controversy, but they're like the poster image of what kids look up to as someone who is their hero. He's doing well, family, kids now, multi-millionaire 100 times over. He's a success story. And he's on a box of Wheaties. Yeah, I'm a kid like, Mom, I want to get that Wheaties.
Yeah.
That's Kobe Bryant. He eats it. I want to be just like him.
Yep.
Kobe Bryant comes to you with an energy pill. Hey, Mom, I need to take that energy pill. I'm a little tired at school or in college. I want to take that. Kobe takes it. He endorses it. He's a straight through and through person. It's got to be healthy for you. And then you find out that it's laced with what was laced with?
Opioids.
Yeah, laced with opioids. Like, that's crazy.
Like in the
that's
heart of
nuts, dude.
In the heart of the last 10 years being the largest like opiate epidemic probably since like the Vietnam era, dude, of the war, like with heroin transport and all this kind of stuff with regular use, right?
Right.
I mean, we're losing. I think it's like we lost like 150 or 170,000 people last year to overdoses on opiates.
That's so sad.
Now obviously the fentanyl plays a big game in that. Anyway, there's a popular subject matter we're getting at. And by the way, we're paraphrasing the whole fucking endorsing by Kobe. Like, I haven't read anything that stated that he was going to be the face of this. I'm just saying, what would be the motive to want to sue a large pharmaceutical company?
Well, it makes sense
for something that he may not be involved with, right? You know what I mean?
Let's just say he's worth $80 to $100 million. It wouldn't be worth it for him to take anyone to court unless it was something that was so damning to the image that, or like he was tricked or didn't know about. Like, it's almost I'm taking you down out of it being the right thing to do. This is terrible. We need to set precedents.
Yeah.
I'm going to show people you can't do that.
I mean, like you said, another.
I mean, it's a theory. That's my thought.
Well, right, and I mean that's why I think it's like an easy thought process to bridge, because it makes sense. Because otherwise, it'd be like, hey, because we were talking about the there wasn't stem cells, but whatever. Let's say it was one of the pharmaceutical companies that was given the knee injections, right?
Right. The injection.
When he was going over, I think it was in Germany or wherever, where he was going to get the treatment done, and then he comes back and he fucking plays and he's great and all this stuff. So it's like, even if he's got these ties to it, it's like his own character, how he has built from the time where he cheated and then got the family back together and then got into, started playing great and legacy guy, right?
Right.
And it's like, what else would he fucking, and his numbers are over $100 million, just so he's like closer to like a close
Right.
to
I knew it was in the hundreds,
dude.
but I didn't want to he could be 600 or 200. I was like, fuck, I'm just going to say 80, right? It's crazy because it's still such a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I had that much money, I'm like, I ain't taking anyone to court. It's not worth it. Who cares? I don't give a shit.
And not to mention, like, dude, if he really wanted to be like a Michael Jordan, because he's over $1 billion with all that stuff, like, dude, he could grind and do it if that's what his goal was. Like, I want to be a billionaire if he wasn't already, right? So it's like, again, just like you're saying, like, what's the point? Like, why would he do that?
Right,
So
which is why I understood what you're saying. Like, it's a big deal if he's taking 3 of these pharmaceuticals to court, because there's a major issue here that's probably a moral dilemma for him.
Yeah. And here's the real I feel like the underlying question. If I can I'm going to scour and try to figure out if there's any ties to this, but it'd be very, very interesting to see if there was any financial payout to the family from that company or any one of those pharmaceutical companies
To the Bryants,
after the passing. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I think I read that she's still going after. They're still fighting it.
She's going after the cops that
She already got paid. It was like $60 million.
Yeah, she made money on that, but I don't think that stopped. She's probably, from my understanding was that she's still trying to go further, like to the, like what else is there? Like the phone companies that hold the information. You know what I mean? Like, and who knows? But it sounds like there was something recent that came out, right? Still in pursuit of some kind.
Yeah,
of
I can't
financial
remember.
But
Poor thing's gone through so much. I can't imagine, dude.
crazy.
Your significant other, your kids are still growing up.
Yeah, unless she's. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, don't.
I'm like, she owns one of the companies.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's
Okay.
not. That's
It's a
not
hell
a
of a
thing.
theory.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. Just in case. That was a joke. That sucked. Kind of funny though. But anyway, yeah, dude.
Wait. So can you guys talk about the conspiracy around that though? Like 3 days prior?
Oh,
So 3 days prior.
he died.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
He died,
we're
dude.
pretty much implying that if he's taken them to court, and it's a big deal. I don't think Kobe would do it if he didn't have the appropriate amount of evidence.
Right.
Because he can afford the best lawyers, and they're going to give it to him straight. You need this much things to be able to have a smoking gun, as they call it in court, to get somebody, to make them guilty. Smoking gun, right? He had to have had it, is what the theory is. He's going to court. He's got 3 days. He's going to bring these companies down. That's a massive class action lawsuit that would sink that company, if not put many people in charge, probably in jail.
Right.
So now so it's saying that they took him out.
Exactly. So like I just want to make sure that's out there.
Yeah.
Because I don't I haven't heard about that.
Honestly, I hadn't either. And then I saw it a few days ago, and I was like, wait, what?
And nobody's talking about this.
Yeah, it's not mainly. God, it doesn't fit the narrative.
How many years though? Later,
I know.
Are we talking about this?
Because it takes a little while for the true dig deep people that want to find shit out because they don't settle on this is just what happened.
Right.
And then that's how it comes about. Now, whether it's through, financial transaction or through whatever, right? Or just people or theories that they just go out and try to figure things out, which that's where the conspiratorial stuff comes from. Mm-hmm. Like before that, if you had said that, it's like, it'd be some dude being like, no, he was taken out by the pharmaceuticals, and you'd be like, why? You're like, I don't know. It just seems to make sense,
right.
But then all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, no, it's because, the theory maybe could be based on because of, like you said, it's such a heavy loss to those companies. If he wins this lawsuit or at least goes public, can decimate them completely. Mm-hmm. Now you're getting into the realm where, okay, well, how big were these companies? How big was it? Did they have a parent company? In this case, was the Acorn deal, which I fucking have no idea, dude.
Well, and people are going to think, oh, this is crazy because it's a conspiracy theory. I mean to cut you off. I'll continue.
No, it's okay. The JFK assassination.
I was going to say it again. And
still,
people,
you know what I mean?
People thought, everyone who thought that the CIA killed Kennedy, they thought we were crazy. It was true.
Well, there's so
many conspiracy theories
evidence
coming true, and it's just almost like, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, then, but that's again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The system relies on people to not fucking care, dude, and to just accept things for what they say. That could look. Honestly, that could have actually happened. Let's say Kobe doesn't die, goes to court, and all of a sudden it's the same thing, right? Like data gets to be omitted. Judges get switched up the day before the trial.
Yeah.
Different lawyers get swapped out because of whoever basically seems to benefit financially for whatever they're ruling on. And sometimes, even if it looks like the most slam dunk case, you're like, yeah, dude, they're fucking drugging people with opiates. It's like this is like a no-brainer subject matter. You don't have to be an expert to be like, hey, that's probably not good. And then you're going to mark it? Oh, it's going to be over the counter? You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway. So it's like just one of those things where you're going, okay, well, it's so dumb that the only explanation would be there's something fucking going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so then that leading into it's like, okay, well, does that mean this is true of the reason why the helicopter crashed and family and all the tragedy that surrounds that incident? No, it doesn't mean that it's true. What it means is, but it also, it's like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Right? Because the fact is that I'm not that crazy for saying this sentence out loud. You know what I mean? Like I can actually talk to someone just enough to where they might believe me.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I believe it. I'm just saying it's something like it's pretty crazy and it's awfully coincidental going back into the thing I seem to chant every episode is coincidence. But yeah, so we'll I hope, honestly, I hope more information comes out about this because if that's the case, I was like, people might riot after that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's like, that might be the one thing that brings everyone together. Because the one thing we all agree is that the majority of people loved Kobe Bryant. And like, for, pick anything for what he stands for to you individually.
Yeah.
But like, dude, he's the
man.
Yeah.
Dude, he was the ultimate role model.
I'd get down, dude. I'd be like, fuck them.
You love the guy because, he had the world in his hands and he had some downfalls, but he rose back up and he became better and did better.
Yeah.
And you can't hate a person on that. I love comeback stories.
Absolutely.
And he became the ultimate person like that you wanted to be, you could look up to.
Yeah.
It's almost going to be like, I thought about this one time. I was like, what's crazy is that, 40 years from now, it's going to be like the Kennedy thing. 60 years from now, breaking news. Oh, actually, the government, the pharmaceutical companies did take out Kobe Bryant. But who's going to care? Because 70-something odd years have gone by. It's like, oh, well, whatever.
Ask a 19-year-old kid who JFK was.
Right.
Yeah, they don't care.
No fucking clue.
No.
And I'm not saying, and like, we're almost at that generation of like complete distance from that. Mm-hmm. But we're just at enough to where it was like, you either were, you heard about either what happened or folklore around it or maybe conspiratorial approach. It's just all this, it's like, dude, a fucking sitting president was murdered, whatever. Just
by
that
the government.
itself.
By the government.
Yeah, potentially by the government, right? And there's a lot of stuff that really paints that picture. Like, I would think, especially of the things that could come out in the last fucking 6 months, you would think there'd be a lot of people going like, you know what? We really got to evaluate this shit as a community, like every citizen, but it doesn't. It's just like, well, okay, I guess. But, they said no. I believe it.
Can you imagine before the internet, social media, and all this?
Yes.
How many people the government, let's be real, the government's going to do what's best for the government, for the country to make themselves look clean, clear, and not the problem.
Yes.
How many people they have taken out, dude?
Right.
And I want to put a disclaimer out there. Myself, Sam, and Jordan are not suicidal.
Yeah.
We are totally
Second
fine.
that.
We enjoy our lives. We love our families. And, we don't want to leave this earth until the Lord says it's our time. So if someone says that we commit suicide, it's not us.
Right.
Yeah, and the Lord's not a fancy way to say like assassinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a weird conversation to have at the pearly gates. To be like, I distinctly said, I wouldn't get shot because it was your word. He's like, no, I had it done. Like, crazy. Right. You got a plan though, right?
What were we going to say, Sam?
No, I was just going to say it's crazy how like social media, like our parents and their parents, this is like our generation. It's probably the first generation that's had the ability to reference social media and to reference the internet. We can go back and pull this information. So everybody after us, yes, Tim, that 70 years is a thing, but they can just, find it,
Yeah.
Whereas us, it's like they're just, it's hearsay, and they can just be like, yo, this is what happened, and then we just spread it, as opposed to us actually fact checking.
Well, there's so many things now that are documented because, let's say, just because information, because the power of our cell phones, and that everyone can film everything, and that people can leak things so quick out of the government to others so you can actually see the truth. Think about the January 6th thing. We don't have enough time to talk about that. But now are people that quote-unquote insurrection, it's like now you're seeing the real videos that no media outlet wanted anyone to see. It's actually officers let them in. They let him walk in.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
I wasn't sure if we were even going to go down this route.
We don't go down. We're going to save that one for the next month's review. But, man, it just goes to show you, like, you got to do your own research, man. You have to, because they're going to want you to not think for yourself. That's why I say do your own homework, man.
Right.
It's okay to question things. You might get a deeper truth. Or you might find out fucking lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, I mean, dude, but I was saying, anyways, the information age that we're in, we have these cell phones, and the power of the cell phone, right? And it's like, think back to Kennedy and all those things with like Roswell and UFO, and they didn't have the phones. Right. It's somebody typing on a typewriter a memo, and then the only thing we can see right now is the memo, but blacked out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, look at the.
Whereas from 60 to 70 years from now, you get, once your shit's on the internet, you ain't never taking it off, bro. Yeah, it's for good.
Yeah,
totally.
People are going to be able to see these videos. Mm-hmm. They're going to see all the things from the pandemic to now to whatever's going to be happening. I mean, they're going to find so much information, be able to see so many things, to be able to be informed and make their own decision. Right. But that's when all the truth usually comes out, right? It's 60, 70 years like, oh, yeah, you know what? We're going to just tell you the truth now because now it doesn't matter.
Right.
But, we killed this person.
Yep. Oh, dude. The actual truth, yeah.
I mean, look at, just the January 6th stuff. So the reason why this is kind of like, that kind of went away. Like, I didn't really hear a lot about it, right? And then it started barking up again. The reason why it started getting popular, or at least the subject matter we're talking about as far as mass media goes, is because the Congress, with the House, McCarthy, the new speaker?
Yes. I love him.
He voted to,
he's getting transparency.
First, I wasn't really digging the pick, but now it's
I wasn't.
Things I'm like, okay.
No, but I agree with you. But he's freaking being transparent with everything.
At least
release everything.
I was like, keep it going, because I'm sure it won't last forever. But you know what? If you got him in a position, try to exploit all the fucking bullshit behind closed doors as you can.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but what I was going with is that they released 47,000 hours of videos, whether it's from surveillance or from, like you said, people's cell phones. So it's like, go back to the JFK assassination. What was it, in Dallas, where they were doing the day parade,
right?
where it had a massive dude, it had a massive turnout. So now, dude, today's standards, I mean, dude, it's like fucking, if he was just as popular as he was back then, a lot of people are going to be showing up to this thing. Now, if everyone is equipped with a cell phone, it's like that whole where there are multiple shooters clause, you know what I mean? Now, dude, there's going to be things that come out,
magic bullet bullshit, dude.
The magic bullet, get the fuck out of here, dude. It's the worst theory that was like, that went down is how it happened.
But I've met multiple people who believe that theory, and I just listened to them and I'm like, do you realize how ridiculous you sound right now? There's no such thing as a magic bullet.
Yeah.
Like, come on, and even look at the theory and the trajectory. It just doesn't make any sense.
It went through like two bodies, through like multiple points of entry and exit. It ricocheted like 3 or 4 times, and then no one found the bullet on scene, and it showed up on the gurney when he was wheeled into the operation room. And the bullet was like the thing, and again, like, okay, so you're like,
so
hey,
crazy.
Things can happen. Like, you have no idea. Totally magic, if you will. Okay, yeah, I'll bite on that. But the problem was the fucking bullet was in perfect condition. That's the thing. It's like, okay, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, just knowing how a bullet operates when you fire it, there's like some deformity to the bullet, not the shell, but the bullet, right?
Oh yeah,
and it's
once it starts hitting things, it starts to rip and break apart,
right? And or depending what kind of bullet, maybe some are stronger, whatever. But it's like, okay, well, it's like the cause of damage and what was happening, it just doesn't match the caliber, and then now it hits multiple things, whether it's bone, flesh, the inside of the car 3 times or 2 times or whatever it was, and it. like has like no damage to the bullet. I mean, like they're probably lucky that the dude took it out of the casing. They're like, oh fuck, dude, Jim, you can't have the back on here. No one's gonna believe it was shot.
They said, hey, make sure there's a bullet. Hey, they probably said, make sure there's a bullet in there. He just threw the whole thing with the casing.
He goes, I don't know, I got one of these. Does this work? He goes, fucking send
God
it,
damn
dude.
it, Jim! You gotta take the casing off.
They're coming. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, totally. You know, but again, right? It's just like, all right, well, fucking, you know,
Oh, my
like,
God.
is it believable that it's not true? 100%. Does it mean that it's not true? I guess.
Yeah.
But it does. I would say no. You know, just like not being a fucking scientist, dude. Like I'm like that just doesn't work that way.
You made great points tonight, though. And it's interesting thinking like, okay, 60, 70 years from now, like we said, people are going to be able to look up all the information. I mean, probably the social media accounts, the videos, and all that stuff. But it's almost like, what will they believe because of the misinformation? Because of so much that has been found out to not be true. I mean, you have to do a lot. And I like what you said, that you cross-reference. I don't think enough people do that. People will find the first article they see, click, that's truth. No, it's not. You need to put it up against other articles from different views. It's okay to look at the side that you don't agree with to see what they're writing, and look at the side you're agreeing with, see what they're, and then the side that's probably neutral, and see what they're writing about the information.
Totally.
Because you're gonna get 3 fucking different stories.
And look,
So you got to figure out which one is truth, or 2 are gonna sound similar, and one's gonna be way off.
or use it to try to maybe better your stance. Like, you know what? Like if I'm like, that makes no sense. I'm gonna read shit to back up my own theory, and then I'm gonna tear your theory apart so you believe me, which is like the art of debating, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But in that process, when you are actually spending time trying to gain the other perspective, dude, shit's
learn.
gonna switch in your head sometimes. You may still think you're right, but you'll be like, there's way more holes into my thought process than I was fucking thinking before. You know what I mean?
Right. You're equally informed.
Yeah. Where you're like,
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like you can make the argument for either. You know what I mean? I was like, I really don't know what to believe anymore. I was like, because I kind of am for it and against it.
But are you going to do that much research, though?
Nah,
you know? Yeah.
nah,
No, you're going
probably
to stop where you're like,
I got
okay,
a life,
3.
dude.
Right. I got 3 articles.
Well,
Great.
I got 2 kids and a job, dude. Fucking,
Exactly.
I got no time for that
You
shit.
both made a great point. That, you know, Americans, the blue-collar Americans, America, and the people that are lower income, the reality is they're going to have to work harder and longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do they have time to take, you know, to be able to look into this stuff? Let's be real, probably not, because they come home tired. They're working their ass off. They're trying to provide and make a way and a better future for their kids. I get it.
Oh,
I
dude.
totally get it. But I just want to encourage you to start standing on your own and think for yourself just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, man. And realize you can't trust everything that anyone tells you or that the government fucking tells you.
Totally.
And it's okay to question it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Stand on your own 2 feet, have your own confidence, because the reality is most governments don't want their people to be able to think for themselves or stand on their feet. They want followers. They don't want leaders.
Yeah.
Because then they can tell you what to do, and that's it. And they're going to keep you down. Do you think the government wants all of us to be entrepreneurs and successful and millionaires and not have to work and pay that much taxes? No. They want more middle class and lower class so they can keep taxing the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because you are the one, we are the ones funding America.
Who's going to do the work that the rich people don't want to do?
Exactly.
Fucking us, dude.
Yes.
That's what it is. You know, and they know that.
Sorry for cussing, by the way.
No, dude, it
It just fires me up sometime, dude. It really does. I want people to just start thinking for yourself, but don't be afraid to make moves that are going to be better for yourself, so you don't feel held down or stuck at a job that you hate, making a wage that you don't like, paying the same bills and getting the same debt and not be able to get out of your debt. Take a risk. Get on your feet and try something new. Yep. Yes, you fucking can is what I want to say. You have nothing to lose. Don't believe what anyone's going to tell you. They don't support you? Fuck them.
Yeah. That's another shirt, dude. I wish I was like, I don't know if we can get that on a hat, but definitely a shirt. If they don't support you, fuck them. And then just like a Tim with a pointed finger this way. You know, like it could be like an old like 60s style cartoon where they're like, you could do it. They're like, they don't believe you, you know, or believe in you. Fuck them.
Yeah, because that's what I want to tell people sometimes, dude. Yeah. Because a lot of our lives, think about it. It's always like you have dreams.
Yeah.
And what do you see? You see so many people go to the grave with dreams that haven't been fulfilled or crushed because they believed everything everyone told them, that they're not good enough, that they can't.
Yeah.
That's not for you. Fuck them. Go for it. Do what you want to do. Don't believe the mass media, don't believe your friends, don't believe your people. And if someone's on your side, supports what you want to do, leave them behind. Your life is too short. Your life is but a vapor. And I will tell you right now, it is here and gone. All of us and people listening have lost loved ones. I know it. It's hard and it hurts. Or you've been close to losing your life. Or you're dealing with some type of disease. The last thing you want to do is get to the end of your life and have regret. You'll always know how much money you can make or have in your bank account, but you don't know the day you're going to die. So go after what you want to do. It's so freaking worth it. Leave a legacy. Leave something behind for your family. Do something for yourself that's going to make you feel fulfilled. So you're not sitting at a job that you hate making a wage that sucks, thinking, gosh, this is all life has to offer. No, it's not. Because you're believing the culture and the customs. Live outside the box. Do what you want to do. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Geez, sorry. That's it.
I think it's great. I was like, and be proud of yourself for doing it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying be like an asshole about
be a free
it, but
thinker,
like,
man.
yeah, you know, don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. And I think, you know, but no, dude, I think that's super. I hope people listen. I hope that inspires people because it's the truth. And in that process, all the things that we cover a lot on this, just this show in general, are to promote that. It's to get outside the box, right? It's to get off your ass and go fucking do something.
Yes.
And you know what? You're going to fail, and then you might succeed, and you'll probably fail again, and you're going to rinse, repeat that shit for years. But you know what? The process, the journey, the everything is going to mold you into like a fucking member of society that we as a, like people of the United States, we need those people. Mm-hmm. You know, because they're the ones that break ground. They're the ones that set the standard, and you know, they move the bar up. You know, which not in a bad way. Like, you know, I don't mean like an obtainable bar. I just mean like give something to shoot for. You know, and like again, right? Like the Kobe's, the freaking the influencers that do things in that manner that can be able to change the next generation of people. It's so important that we, you know, either hey, look, if there's nobody, why not you? Why isn't it you?
Right.
It can be. There's no reason to not be.
Yes.
You know? So, yeah, anyway, the fucking dude. I'm all fired up, too. I was like, yeah, you know, we could all do this shit. Let's change it up, baby.
I like how you mentioned failure, you know, and then stepping out of the box. Because I'm one of those people that, like, when I fail sometimes, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Oh, I agree with you.
know,
I struggle with that. I struggle with that, yes.
Right. So it's hard, you know, and I think a lot of people, I think we suffer from, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this and continue. But there are those people that they just keep going because that failure, again, it almost like it's fuel and it amps them to do more.
Absolutely.
You know, and for me, that's looking at those people that do that, you know, and that actually succeed after that, you know, because that's what really spurs you because you've already been through the failure and then you succeeded. So now you're going to do it again and again and again. But, you know, the people that, you know, not just me, but, you know, there's a lot of people that see that failure and it happens, you know, and they're just like, you know what, I'm done.
It stops you.
And it stops you. And then you don't continue, you know, so then you never end up getting to that point of, you know, success. Or maybe if you do, it's very small,
right?
You know, so you don't focus on it, you know, but when you hit a big milestone, then you're like, oh my God, let's why not just keep doing this? This is dope, you know? Why did I stop in the first place?
And the subjectivity, dude, of success is different for everybody.
Right.
You know, when we sit here and talk about it, I feel like we all kind of like, it's like a wealth thing or you know what
everyone's
I mean?
own vision just pops up.
Right, yeah.
But at
the end of the day, like all these things apply to whatever success means to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If that's, hey, look, I grinded to buy a house and that was my lifetime goal to start, you know, to get married or start a family, whatever, or get a farm or, you know what I mean? Or invest in businesses and do, you know what? Whatever that means, it's like just use it to drive you. And unfortunately, most of us, including myself, is not someone who naturally just kind of had that ability to fail and then immediately move forward. No way. But that's something that I feel like is a skill that I've learned over years because of the failure, because of the time. And you know what always pissed me off is like the longer you dwell about it, that's lost time.
Right.
You know, now again, you know, whatever the healthy way to do it is. If it takes, I'm not saying like 10 minutes later, you're just like, I'm back ready to go. But you know what I mean? Don't shut yourself out for 10 years. Right. You know, give yourself an opportunity for that. And I think that's, man, we went from like spiritual shit. Now we're going straight motivation.
Bro, James.
Get out there and get it.
James 1:2, count it all joy when you face trials.
I love
because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, bro.
I love it.
I got that on my arm and I'm just like, yo, it's just... I tattooed it because it's like I don't do this well. This is one of those things that, like you said, Jordan, I see that I don't do it, and then I'm like, okay, this is what I need to work on. These are one of those, the challenges in my life, so it's like, hey, when there are, and this is biblical, bro, and there's so many things in the Bible that we can look at and we can be like, hey, that's a life lesson for not just me, but for anyone. And if it's being written, then somebody has already used it and it's already, helped them in their life.
Yeah. No, that dude, well said. And to kind of wrap this up, dude, it's why I try to push that and say it. We do that here is, a lot of people will message me or friends text me like, oh, you have such a good life. I mean, we talked about today, right? I was like, hey, dude, I went and ran 10 miles. Went surfing, beach, oh, you invest in this, you got this business, and you're doing well here, and you got that. I'm like, yeah. But people don't understand the failure that's behind a lot of that. The risks that I did take where I didn't do well. The bad decisions I made in business that didn't benefit me at all. The stress that goes into taking a risk. The worry, the fear, the calculated investment, the saving up and working hard and then investing that money and being patient and waiting, it is difficult. I struggle with confidence. I struggle with self-esteem, and that plays into a lot of my decision making. Am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. So when we say it, I don't want anyone to think like, oh, well, it's easy. It's not easy for me. I don't think it's easy for anybody because you have to learn to control your emotions and have good decision making. Good comprehension and knowledge of what you're doing. So it's hard. It's not easy. I'll tell you right now, it's very uncomfortable because it's for anyone, failure is hard. Rejection is hard. And I have failed. I've been rejected. And I a lot of times I don't handle it well. It's difficult. But one thing I think that's helped me and set me apart is being taught by my father that no matter what happens in your life and whatever you do and how much pain you're in or what decision you've made, you have to never give up. You have to continue to put one foot in front of the other because that is what's going to separate you from being great and then from mediocre. Is you got to keep going because all the greats started where all of us are at and they failed. They failed often. They had so many people tell them you can't do it. And they're the ones that said, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to show you how I can do it. It may take me 10 days, it may take me a year, or it may take me 10 years, but I will be successful and I will show you. Don't give up. You have to learn to be tough and to be gritty and be willing to fail and take risk. It's taking risk and not being afraid to be a failure. You have nothing to lose. Go for it. All you have to lose is pretty much your life. And a life of regret because you just went to a work that you hated. Making a wage that you probably didn't deserve or you want more, you know what I'm saying? You want a better wage and now your life is ending. And you wish you could have done all these things and provided a way for your family and for your kids and to travel. Get after it, man. You have nothing to lose. Get out of your head and go for it, baby.
I love it. I'm so sorry. I was smiling because in the back of my head, I was like, the first thing that popped up, I was like, this is the kind of person who's going to make this. What you're saying is the kind of speech they're going to have at the Silicon Valley Banking Investment Quarterly when they're talking to all the investors. Exactly what you just said in the last 2 minutes. I guarantee you. I was like, you don't take no for an answer. You put one foot in front of the other. We will get out of this.
Listen to me. If your bank is throwing out fundraisers and flyers and sending you emails,
because shit's fucked up.
Yeah,
dude.
that they need to do events to raise money and you should donate. Go get your money, okay? Go get your motherfucking money because them motherfuckers are going to close. You're going to lose all your shit. Your bank shouldn't be doing fundraisers and hot dog events to sell fucking Doritos to make sure your liabilities and assets are fucking covered.
Fucking Chase Bank sends you a pancake social Saturday. Like, why the fuck are they like right down the street? That's weird.
Dude, that's weird. I can see that at sketch comedy.
100%, right?
You look, like open the mail, it's like Chase Bank. Come to our hot dog luncheon.
Yeah, it's like we heard last week that you were interested on a hot dog luncheon.
I'd be like, yo, what the fuck?
It's like got two tickets like fucking super glued to the bottom that you tear off for one hot dog or something. You're like, whoa,
Amateur hour.
crazy.
Taste hot dogs.
Not even a QR code, dude. Just a fucking old
It don't
school
take a
ticket.
genius, but I'd be like, dude, it doesn't take a genius, but I'd be like, yo, wait a minute. Like, what are we doing here? You guys are supposed to be $1 billion company?
I'm like, hey, babe, what are we doing Saturday? Free hot dogs. Oh, and you want my money? Yeah, don't worry. You seem cool.
You know, yeah, here's another $1,000 in your deposit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Jimmyola.
I'll go direct deposit. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Never see anything.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
Anyways, guys, thanks for coming and doing this podcast tonight. Appreciate you, dudes.
man.
Great
Yes,
sir.
job.
There's a lot of good things that were covered tonight. Sam, you were just documenting, dude. I love it.
Bro, I got so much. Yeah, man. Yeah, I got you.
I love it.
I got you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you, baby.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So, and Jordan, you're like our resident politician. You're our
No,
journalist.
I'm not
You're
a
our
politician.
politician journalist or journalist politician, whatever you want to call
Both.
A journaltician.
it.
That was lame. I'll work on that one.
No, you're good, dude. I like it. But anyways,
yeah, it was fun.
great job tonight, guys. I just like talking about these things because I still think there are a lot of people who are just not informed.
100%, dude.
That's all.
Yeah.
And
Or
then,
choose to be not informed.
Hey, you know what? At least like we have a platform to talk about it,
Right.
and
Right.
you know we don't have all the answers, and I don't think any of us ever claim to. We have motivating speeches, but maybe not the answers. But you know what though? Like just like you said, just fucking open your eyes, pay attention, listen, challenge yourself to sometimes prove yourself wrong. And I think when you can do that, like it puts you in a good position to be open enough to be like, hey, maybe I'm incorrect about a subject matter.
Right.
And other than that, dude, just don't invest in fucking Silicon Valley Bank because it sounds like it's a really risky.
screw them federal funds.
Or at least short them if they make a bunch of money in a year.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it turned it from like, hey, we got to talk about this guys to a whole like fuck 'em speech. Anyways,
man.
so well, awesome. Let's go on to you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
1, 2, hold on. Epstein didn't kill himself. 1, 2,
the last
let's go. Oh, yeah. Come on.
Come on.
1, 2, 3.
Let's
go. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. If you liked what you just listened to, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Please follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And a big shout out to Stephen Clark, our sound editor. He's a huge part of this team that is unseen. It's 89 Barbers, our first sponsor. Look good, feel good, be great. That's 2 locations, Orange, California, and Long Beach, California. Book your appointment online, 89barbers.com. Bye, everybody.